Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Grill Nation show with Jason Grill. Thank you for joining me today on KMBZ 980 AM if you're joining on the radio, on our podcast channel, or on my website, grillnationshow.com. It's great to be back here on the show today. As always, you can find me on social media. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, at Jason Grill and at Grill Nation Show. Hope you're having a great week. I'm excited to have on a very interesting group of guests here today. Thanks to the great folks at the Kansas City Area Development Council. Their website is thinkkc.com. We are going to be joined today first by Jonathan Knecht, who is the Senior Vice President of Marketing and Creative at the Kansas City Area Development Council. And then we're going to welcome in some other guests here after the break. But first, I want to start with Jonathan. How are you today, sir?
Good, Jason. Good morning. Happy to be with you.
Good to see you again. How are things in your world?
Our world is extremely busy. Everyone is scrambling to keep up with, the ongoing effort to promote Kansas City. So yeah, it's been a busy summer. It's flying by.
It really has, hasn't it? So now we've entered the fall, and what do you do at KCADC, Jonathan? Let's talk about that first, because you've only been on the show once, I believe. I'd love to know more about what you do at the KCADC.
Sure. So I help lead the marketing side of KCADC. We're really kind of a two-sided organization. One side with our business development team that really helps facilitate and manage businesses as they expand into our market. And then the flip side of that is the marketing side and PR and graphics and creative work that we do to help market to those organizations around the country, around the world, and really even to talent that is looking to opportunities in Kansas City, to many of the great companies we have here. So it's a little bit like they're reeling in the fish and we're baiting the hook. So we've got a great team here and we've been at it for a while, and it's great to market a great city. It's a great product to work on every day.
Definitely is. Jonathan, we're going to be joined here on the show today by two other guests, Shawn Long and Jenn Nussbeck. We're going to be talking about the KC Parade of Hearts. Kind of give us a little bit of a preview of what we're going to be hearing from Shawn and Jenn and yourself. You don't need to get into all the nuts and bolts, but let's just talk about kind of what our focus on the show is today.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's an amazing effort that's going on. And the team and the details will be shared by Jenn and Shawn. But, bringing the heart to life in Kansas City and seeing it really throughout the region is really what their effort is, and bringing us together behind this great symbol. A couple of years ago, we united forces with Chase McAnulty and Charlie Hustle and their kind of iconic KC Heart symbol that really goes back to the Negro Leagues, goes back to being in the heart of America, really 100 years of that being our kind of DNA identity here, and refreshing that to market Kansas City to the world. But then also it leads to all these other great ways of embracing the heart. And the Parade of Hearts is a completely unique and amazing way to connect Kansas City to this great symbol that really represents who we are here.
So the Parade of Hearts website is theparadeofhearts.com. Fascinating website. We'll go through it. So I was really intrigued by this. Obviously, you all started working with Chase and adopting kind of that as the symbol, about a year or two ago? Or has it been now?
It was the end of 2019. Yeah, right before the pandemic hit.
Okay, because I remember at the Super Bowl, you guys were this first Super Bowl, you were very engaged on the ground.
Absolutely.
National thing. This is not just a Kansas City thing. This is a national thing.
Absolutely. And we'll talk with the Parade of Hearts. The Parade of Hearts is a great example of it on the ground here locally. And KCADC's efforts are really to take it out and make it visible around the world, around the country, and connect that icon to Kansas City and all the great things that are going on here.
Mm-hmm. So Jenn Nussbeck will be joining us. Jenn is the co-director of the KC Parade of Hearts, and Shawn Long is the vice president of Philanthropy and Corporate Outreach at the University of Kansas Health System. also heavily engaged in this as well. So they'll be joining us here after the break. I wanted to talk too about, KCADC going into the fall. I know you guys have a lot of events that you're engaged with, and there's always a lot of announcements around, new businesses coming to Kansas City. I get the emails. Is there anything you want to highlight that is kind of coming up or that is an exciting win for Kansas City?
Yeah, absolutely. So every year in the fall in November, we have our annual meeting, which is really traditionally been a luncheon where we gather maybe close to 2,000 folks at the Grand Ballroom. We obviously didn't do that last year in November. We ended up making a 60-minute video broadcast that was still super fun to put together and communicate and message to everyone who loves Kansas City what's going on here and how we're growing. So we're going to get back in person this year. We're going to be back in the Grand Ballroom on November 5th. And we're really looking forward to the Kansas City business community coming together. It's going to be a vaccination expectation that is going to make that room available for us to get together, network together again, see each other again in person, and really and take advantage of what's always been a great day to feel good about being in Kansas City and doing business in Kansas City.
Yeah, I watched it last year. I thought it was really well produced too. So even though it wasn't live, I felt like it was.
Yeah, it was really fun. We kind of felt like we were putting together a TV show. We were ready to go run to Netflix and say, hey, we want a Kansas City show on every week. But we're excited to be back in person too. We're going to have great video content again that we can share afterwards and really, again, kind of keep that hype going about what's going on here. But it will be great to be in person again too.
I bet. Yeah, for sure. That's a lot of planning that goes into that. So that's exciting that that's happening here. And then, of course, if you go to your website at online at, let me bring it up here, thinkkc.com. I'm looking through it and I read some of it this morning about some of the innovative kind of things happening around cold storage, around, logistics, around kind of recruitment of companies, spec space. I mean, there seems to be a lot of stuff happening and a lot of potential wins for Kansas City either now or in the future. So that's exciting to see.
I think that's right. And, different sectors in Kansas City have obviously adjusted over this last 2 years. So where we're seeing movement and growth are the types of things that we want to share with our group. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did see Tim Cowden was in New York the other day as well at the New York Stock Exchange, I believe. So I'm sure he was rocking the KC Heart, which we'll talk about here in a second on his voyage.
Absolutely. Yeah. He had a great opportunity to join a Kansas delegation. I think the governor of Kansas was there as well to help ring the bell. So always great when Kansas City is ringing that bell.
I love it. We're going to have an awesome show today. As soon as we come back from the break, we're going to be talking about the Parade of Hearts, KC Parade of Hearts. The website is theparadeofhearts.com. I think it's pretty cool what they're doing, and we're going to talk all about it here on the Grill Nation Show. Thanks for joining us today. We will be right back after the break. Okay. Great job, Jonathan.
Okay, cool.
Let's bring on your friends now. There's Jen, and there's Shawn.
Friends might be going a bit far.
We used to be friends, but then it's been all downhill.
Till this whole Parade of Hearts thing showed up.
Okay, so we are ready to go on number 2, says the producer. Okay, so we will roll here in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Grill Nation Show with Jason Grill. Thanks for joining me today on 980 AM, or if you're on podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, or on Stitcher, we greatly appreciate it, or if you're on our website, grillnationshow.com. I wanted to remind our listeners that you can go to YouTube and watch any of our shows. Just search for the Grill Nation Show with Jason Grill. We are now joined again by Jonathan Knecht, who's the Senior Vice President of Marketing and Creative at the Kansas City Area Development Council. Jenn Nussbeck, who's the co-director of the KC Parade of Hearts, and Shawn Long, who's the Vice President of Philanthropy and Corporate Outreach at the University of Kansas Health System. Welcome to the show, everybody. I want to start with Jenn. Jenn, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background. Let's get to know you a little bit before we dive into the KC Parade of Hearts.
Sure. Well, thanks for having us. We're very excited to talk about Parade of Hearts. My background is primarily a nonprofit. Presently, I'm the Chief Development Officer. My full-time job is at a Hope House, a domestic violence agency, and was invited to join this incredible group of leaders in Kansas City, including Shawn, to come in and co-direct the Parade of Hearts. And my co-director is Mary Wooldridge, who is with Dimensional Innovation. So we're super excited to join you today.
So you're very busy. This is another labor of love for you, Jenn.
It is. You know, I think somebody really helped put these words into how I would describe Kansas City. We do so many epic events, but it's always tied with philanthropy. We want something good tied with our big fun activities, events. And I think the Parade of Hearts is just another example, and pun intended, our hearts are forward in this.
Completely. Shawn, welcome to the show. Shawn, tell us about yourself. I did some research. You've had quite an interesting journey in Kansas City, both in media sales and in sports, and now at the University of Kansas Hospital and Health System.
Well, thanks, Jason. It's a pleasure to be here. You know, it's just a kind way of saying I can't keep a job, so I appreciate the way you spun that. So have had some really interesting career path to get to where I am. Was in radio and television for a while on the sales side, primarily through sports, the Chiefs radio broadcast, and kind of did the same thing at KCTV5, and then went to work for the team, for the Chiefs. And that led me to the University of Kansas Health System, where I met Bob Page. They were a partner of the team. And so just over the course of getting to know Bob and some of the board members and some of the executive team while I was with the Chiefs, we got into this crazy conversation about, hey, since you don't know anything about healthcare or philanthropy, why don't you come over here and help us? And while it doesn't make any sense, I do think that all that background kind of helped me or position me with some, maybe a different way of looking at things, that has been beneficial. I hope it's been beneficial for the health system. So this event, as Jenn and Jonathan have talked about, is really an interesting event. I think people are really going to be blown away when they see this thing come alive on the streets and in the neighborhoods of Kansas City.
Yeah, I can't wait. And how did you get engaged, Shawn, with the Parade of Hearts?
Well, so I sit on the KCADC board, and I can remember now. This was pre-COVID.
Because everyone raves about you. Because that's why.
Oh my God! Well, well, look, not the sharpest knife in the drawer, for sure. I've had the good fortune of just getting to know and meet some really incredible people. Folks on this screen. The KCADC group as a whole is just super dynamic. Kansas City should be really proud of this group that's going out and telling our story to the other cities around the country. We've got a great group. I mean, maybe one of the best economic development councils in all of the country that are out representing us. And so what they get to represent, though, is kind of this spirit of Kansas City, right? I mean, Jason, it looks like maybe you grew up here. I did a little snooping around on you too. So, Kansas City is a unique place.
I can't wait for our coffee after this call or this radio show where we go through all of our mutual friends at the Chiefs, at the University Health System. I mean, there'll be many stories we can share about them too.
There will be many. One of the things too that kind of came to mind as I was thinking about this conversation is when I was with the team, I probably noticed it more then than any other time, but when other players and coaches would come in from different markets, from different teams. They got traded or the coaching staff got blown out. So you got a new group of people. Inevitably, they all talked about the same thing, like they couldn't believe Kansas City. I can remember when Montana came here, he said, I can't believe that I could let my kids out in my yard to go play.
Yeah.
Like that is something we just all think, well, why wouldn't you? But Kansas City's a unique place, and more and more people are discovering that. And we hope that Parade of Hearts is another, vehicle or a platform to tell that story.
Let's talk about that. And Jonathan, chime in wherever you want to as well on the overview of it. So let's start there. Just kind of what is it, and what does it engage and involve? Jen, do you want to start?
You bet. So these Kansas City leaders, including Shawn, really started talking about how can we bring the Heartland forward after, at this time, this is back in June of 2020. And they were talking about, the pandemic, civil unrest, the upheaval of the election, the economy, how our cities in the metro were feeling divided. How can we put something together to unify the Kansas City region? And there is nothing more iconic, like Shawn said, than our heart. And really getting to those conversations with people like Chase McAnulty, Bob Kendrick, Shawn Long, Tucker Trotter from Dimensional Innovations, and saying, let's really challenge ourselves to bring something not to just Kansas City, Missouri proper, but all throughout the region, our surrounding cities on both sides of the state line. And let's also build something so incredible that we can raise funds for those that have been most impacted by the events of last year and unfortunately well into this year. And also, kind of our secondary mission is to bring an economic impact to where these hearts will be placed. So it's a multi-pronged approach, but there's a lot of people that have suffered significantly, businesses, individuals, our communities. And with that, we want to set a national example of how Kansas City did it. And that came through the Heartland and a Heartland celebration.
So you're really trying to unite our community. And so let's talk about kind of the timeline. Where are we at now with this project? And, you laid out the why and the goals very well. Where are we with the timeline on this? As we sit here this week, obviously it's the week of September 13th. This show will air all week. Where are we at right now?
Two big significant things are happening this week and next week. And the first is we are just wrapping up the call for artists. They are submitting their designs. That deadline is September 22nd. And Jason, I know that we, as a board and committees, are so excited to share. As of today, we have over 400 heart designs submitted, and we still have a week to go. It's pretty exciting to see various designs, not only that represent Kansas City and the greater region culturally, but historically, and some exciting designs about our future. And then the other big significant thing happening this week and next is our final commitment from our Kansas City businesses that are pledging heart sponsorships. They are really the fundamental revenue source for this huge endeavor. And so as we wrap that up at the end of next week as well, as of this morning, another big moment is Kansas City businesses have already pledged $1.4 million to this endeavor. So we're very proud and honored to have so many partners in this.
Wow, that is impressive. So you have a lot of supporters, obviously, and a lot of sponsors. You always could get more, obviously, as we grow. Why is that so important, Shawn or Jonathan, to kind of what you're trying to do? Because as you look at the website, again, or if you go to your Instagram page, theparadeofhearts.com, I mean, these are absolutely huge KC Hearts. These are not like, our buttons or our T-shirts. These are like, I'm looking at one, Tucker Trotter in the background from Dimensional Innovations on the Instagram page, and it's like almost as tall as he is. So
yeah, I think these hearts are about 5 by 5 foot by 5 foot. So these are big, noticeable hearts. I'd chime in here, Jason, and tell you that, or just to remind your audience that The number that Jen just referenced, the 1.4 million, this is year one of this event. Most events, even the signature events in Kansas City, don't start year one with this kind of momentum. So I've been absolutely blown away by the reaction, not only from the corporate community here in Kansas City. By the way, we still need more support. We're working towards, obviously, the more support we have, the more hearts that we can buy, which is the more neighborhoods that we can expose through this process. So we're still working diligently and urgently on finalizing our corporate support. But from the artist community, Jen referenced the number of artist submissions. I think just the overall reaction from everybody that we've chatted with, and again, I've gone out and talked with people about the Chiefs or radio or TV and some really cool things. I have never seen an overall reaction from the community that I've seen with Parade of Hearts. So that's truly exciting, and couple that with the fact that this is year one. We hope that subsequent years will be even bigger and better.
Can't wait. Just with everyone here on. Okay, I went to break there. My internet somebody's internet was slower. We're good though.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I'm not sure if that was us or.
No, it's just okay. We're good. Great job. We'll start there if you guys don't mind on our third segment. Okay. And as soon as Darren gives me the heads up here. So I can't wait to see some of these designs. I mean, just on the Instagram page, they look amazing. Just kind of the mock-ups of what they could be, I guess, right?
Yeah.
From a creative.
Yep. And there's some great stories behind the designs. I mean, the designs are one thing. There's some fabulous stories that you'll start to hear about too with some of these designs.
I love it. Okay, we're coming back here in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Grill Nation show with Jason Grill. Thanks for listening today. If you're listening on the radio on 980 AM, if you're joining us on podcast, or if you're watching us on my live stream or on our YouTube page, we greatly appreciate it. Again, you can find us all over social media. Just search for Jason Grill on Twitter at Grill Nation Show, also on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I'm joined today by a great Kansas City collaborator with the show, the Kansas City Area Development Council. They come on the show 4 times a year to talk about what they're doing and what Kansas City's doing. And today we're joined by Jonathan Knecht, who's the Senior Vice President of Marketing and Creative at the KCADC. Shawn Long, VP of Philanthropy and Corporate Outreach for the University of Kansas Health System, and Jenn Nussbeck, who's the co-director of the KC Parade of Hearts. We were talking about kind of where we're at here with the timeline and the goals and the why. If I'm an artist that wants to apply, what do I need to do and how do I do it? Who wants to take that one?
I'm happy to.
Okay.
So we've got theparadeofhearts.com, and thanks for sharing the website, by the way. Artists can go there. They'll click on the link for artist submissions. We provide the guidelines. We also give them the dimensions of the heart. As Shawn mentioned earlier, these are 5x5 structures before the base is considered. It's also sitting on a base, and from there, they can create a sketch, or they could do a full rendering, upload that, and submit it. And then from there, once the deadline happens, which is next week, September 22nd, an independent jury selection panel. These are experienced people. In fact, someone from the airport jury panel is on our panel as well. It's separate from sponsors. It's separate from our board. They are simply looking at this blindly as designs. Does it represent Kansas City geographically, culturally, diversely, and setting some high expectations on bringing our artists of color, our indigenous artists and those that have really made what Kansas City really is, and bring that to what will be over 150 hearts displayed throughout the region.
Well, that was a question I had: is how many hearts are there going to be, and how, like, are these things? What are the components, the materials, the composition of these things? Like when we drive down on the plaza and we see one, are these just massive like structures? I know they're 5x5, but it's just, I'm trying to comprehend it because I just imagine like pictures of like these things all over social media.
That's going to be the case. So they are three-dimensional. And so let's say we're driving down through the plaza and with the base, and it will be sitting on a base with a pole almost 7 feet tall. And once they are placed, it's over 400 pounds. And that heart is anchored into the base. And it will, the artist will be designing both the front and back. The iconic KC will reside on one side, and then there'll be a blank canvas on the other. So artists are really encouraged to bring their designs to life, whether they highlight the KC or maybe make it a more subtle component. We have seen some really amazing things. I think Patrick Mahomes has been submitted a couple of times. I know that's probably shocking. You've got Walt Disney, some of his characters coming to life on these hearts. So I think we're going to see a wide variety of hearts and designs coming through into heart neighborhoods. And I'll tell you, heart neighborhoods are going to be 2 hearts, or it could be, we could go through a neighborhood at 18th and Vine. There could be 5 hearts. So a lot to experience.
Yeah, if I could jump in real quick, Jason, the amazing opportunity here is if you consider those 150 hearts, one big canvas that's going to stretch across our region, that our artists are going to express and tell stories about Kansas City on. What an amazing, again, just overall expression of Kansas City and the heart coming together across the region. I don't think we've ever seen anything like it. And not to tee you guys up, but the fact that we live in this age of social media and technology that's mobile, there's an amazing opportunity when you get out and around and see these, you're going to be able to track them, catch up on the stories, find out the backgrounds of these artists as they roll out across the region. So I don't know if I'm jumping in the wrong queue here, but the technology on the backside is going to be amazing if you guys want to talk about that.
Yeah, the technology, and then, how does the process work once you select the folks?
So once the artists are selected, mid-October, we will have 150 plus hearts brought to one warehouse. We'll get the artists to pick up their hearts, and for the next 100 days, they will bring their magic to life. We will collect all of the hearts at the end of January, and we will work to coat them, weather protect them, and get them ready for a early March spring launch. Because, Kansas City's spring weather might bring some elements. So we want to make sure the hearts are protected as much as possible. They're made of fiberglass. And this particular fabricator is known for creating these art installations for outdoor. So they're going to be very sturdy and withstanding. That's not to say something couldn't happen, but we're going to do our very best to keep those hearts protected, because they'll be on display from early March next year through the end of May.
Oh, wow. So it's a 2-month display.
3 month.
3 months. Okay. So
Yes,
March to May. And who are, so if I'm selected as an artist, if I apply, what is there a reward? Is there any kind of beneficiary? What happens to the people who are lucky enough to be able to design a heart? Shawn or Jonathan, do you want to take that one?
Well, one of the few numbers that I know is that one, so I could share. But each artist will get a $2,000 stipend for being chosen per heart as being a part of this program.
Wow, that's great.
So do the math. I mean, you've got 150 hearts. I mean, it's a big commitment to the art community, which is obviously one of the goals and objectives we had here is to try to look out, and not that everybody wasn't impacted by COVID, but man, local artists and local business, small minority-owned businesses, there's been a ton of folks that have been impacted here, and we felt like this was a really positive way to reach out to the art community.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I still see one of those cows that has the emblems on it from when I was like a kid in somebody's front yard in Brookside. So I do remember that campaign back in the day. I mean, if it was a campaign, I just remember people were painting cows when we were a cow town in the 70s, but now we're not. So I enjoy this, and I can't imagine what Chase is thinking and Bob with this Casey Hart, and it's going to be pretty epic to see it in 150 places. Yeah. I mean, truthfully, like we've only been really kind of made it our emblem, I guess you would say, our logo on T-shirts, and with the Monarchs, of course, but it really kind of became a thing around the World Series around 2014. So it really hasn't really been there that long, I guess, in the mainstream. But now it's like you just don't even think about it like being not our emblem. Why do you think it's the best symbol? Why do you think it represents Kansas City so well, and so many people have really kind of dived into it and wear it and share it and want to be a part of the Parade of Hearts? Why do you think that is?
I'll jump in quick. I think one of the reasons is that we are uniquely centered in the heart of the country, and that's a unique position that you can't change that. You can't just grab another part of the country and say, oh, well, the heart is here. We're kind of conditionally raised to think that the heart's kind of in the center of something. So we just have this great, unique position. And then what's happened is I think the culture that's been brought to life in this city represents that. And so there's a great opportunity for the philanthropy, the kindness, the generosity of spirit, camaraderie, that people feel in Kansas City. It's one of those things where the heart is just a natural. So, to your point, Jason, it just kind of grew and evolved. And I know at KCADC, when we were looking for some new brand positioning back in 2018 and 19, we just said, well, gosh, I don't know how you can really pinpoint our culture any better than the way it's already been done and exhibited at that point through, maybe a million T-shirts being worn around the world. So it's a great opportunity for a symbol to represent a city. And I think that it's going to be exciting to see it come to life in the Parade of Hearts. That's for sure.
Yeah, certainly a great deal of history, obviously going back 100+ years with the heart, with the railroad workers uniforms. And it's really a neat story once you start digging into it and realizing it. And, one of the things you mentioned, Jason, was the cow parade. And if you think about a cow parade, which was a one-year event 20-ish years ago, that a lot of people still remember and are still talking about. And so without the technology, without the use of an app that can really tell you the story of the artist, the history, the story behind it, we're going to have that with this event. We hope that people will get out and engage with the art community to go see these Parade of Hearts and learn the stories, because there's a lot of history here that will be represented.
Very much so. We're having a fascinating conversation about the KC Parade of Hearts. We'll be right back after the break with more Grill Nation. Again, the website is theparadeofhearts.com. Just gives you all the details about the what's happening, the guidelines, kind of the timeline, the sponsors, the supporters, the vision, and the why behind it. We're going to talk more about that after the break. You're listening to the Grill Nation Show. Thanks for joining us today on radio, on podcast, or on the web. Okay, final segment. I really didn't know much about the cow parade.
Too young.
I just see the cows around town in people's yards.
Well, when I start talking to folks about this, that's usually what I reference is I go think cow parade, and immediately they understand, what this is, the scope of it and how it works.
Yeah. Okay, Jen, I'm going to start with you again. Let me come back here. We're going to start here in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to our final segment of today's Grill Nation show with Jason Grill. I really appreciate all of our guests for joining us today on live stream, on radio, on podcast, on our website, grillnationshow.com, or of course on YouTube, where we'll post all of our shows and our sneak peeks there each and every week. Again, we are joined by Jenn Nussbeck, Shawn Long, and Jonathan Knecht, KCADC. We're talking about the Parade of Hearts. Jenn, why don't we start with you? Again, just give us a bite-sized version of what we can expect with this timeline and, the Parade of Hearts in general, kind of what when it's going to all be coming together and when we can see things start happening as far as your typical Kansas City and maybe driving around town.
So as the artists work on their designs through the winter, we do want to highlight some of the stories, as Shawn talked about earlier. There are some incredible artists that will be a part of this. Artists that have been through tragedy, challenges. We even have an artist that is both blind and deaf that has submitted a design. It's incredible. The hearts will be installed and activated throughout the Kansas City region, from the Northland to South, Overland Park, Wyandotte County to Jackson County. And they'll be on display early March next year through the end of May for 3 months. And once those hearts are collected at the end of May, then they're going to go up for auction. And much like the cows, we hope to see these hearts forever installed somewhere, whether it's a home or a business, to write the next chapter of our Heartland history. Wow, that's awesome. And then you mentioned the technology again. Just somebody briefly talk about that, why this is so unique and different. I know Dimensional Innovations and Tucker Trotter is engaged. It's kind of unique. We're dealing with a different level with the tech and the artists and whatnot with the fabrication and everything too, right? It is. And now, the easiest way to explain it is, let's say the four of us are going to go visit a heart, and we're going to go down. I love choosing 18th and Vine, and we get right in front of the museum. We don't know exactly where that first heart is, but it's going to give us an idea of where to park, where to walk. As we treasure hunt, kind of like the Pokemon Go, it's going to lead us to the heart, and through facial recognition technology, it's going to recognize that design. And immediately someone will welcome us to the 18th and Vine neighborhood. And from there, the artist will come through and tell us about their inspiration for their design, how that came to be. We also want the educational component. Is there a historical relevance to why that heart is placed there, or something present day or future? And then finally, one of the most exciting things is the opportunity for area businesses around that heart to engage with those patrons and visitors. So as the four of us are visiting a heart neighborhood, let's say down at the campus of University of Kansas Health System, we're going to see a couple of hearts, and then we might jump over and hit my favorite pizza place, De Bronx. And so we want people to patron in and around those areas and enjoy it, whether it's a family outing, friends, or even field trips for the kids. Wow. So lots of opportunities. And you've got your 150 spots picked out. Is that true? I know they're not public yet, but have you guys figured out? That's a lot of spots. It is. We're working through that. But you know what we're going to do, Jason, is we're going to put it out to the public. We want them to tell us where they think these hearts should go. And then it will go, that whole list will go to an independent panel that will be comprised of individuals, civic leaders from throughout the region that will help us choose where those hearts go. So they're going to play a big role in where these hearts are placed. And the deadline again for an artist submission is September 22nd, correct? Correct. Okay. What are you guys most proud of so far as what you've seen? And we'll just start with Shawn throughout the journey so far of working on the Parade of Hearts. What makes you excited?
Yeah, I can remember sitting at breakfast with a group of folks way back when. Again, this was all pre-COVID. Tucker and Chase were certainly there, along with a few others. And just, for me, the moment of pride comes from kind of seeing this thing in the early stages and then watching it evolve, watching the corporate support and reaction to this. The press event that we did at Union Station was really eye-opening to see people get excited. We had a fabricated heart there, and to see literally what you described earlier start to happen. People were standing by it, taking photos, and then sharing it on social media platforms. So my hope is that this becomes an iconic event in Kansas City for the next 20 or 30 years, and that this is just the beginning. And to be involved in the ground floor has been a moment of pride for me.
Mm-hmm. You'll have a lot of hearts. You mentioned this is only year one. We'll have 150 hearts. I mean, if this continues to grow, I mean, you might see them. There could be thousands of these things at some point, which is amazing to even think about.
Yeah. Not only number of hearts, but geographically how we expand. Kansas City, this heartland region is much bigger than just maybe where this first iteration will come out. So hopefully geographically we'll expand along the way as well.
Mm-hmm. And Jenn, let's go back to you briefly again. What are your vision? What are the goals? What are the if you walk away from Parade of Hearts next year after year one, what do you really hope that comes out of this project for Kansas City and for our community?
First and foremost is that Kansas Cityans throughout the region just describe it as that aha moment of we came out of a pandemic, civil unrest, all the challenges, and it's not just the pandemic. So many difficulties, is that we really unified and rallied together, and it was heart-centered. I think that's the first and foremost. Secondly, taking all these proceeds that were raised and getting those funds right to those that have been most impacted by the events of last year and this year. It's part of economy revitalization, but it is also the center of who Kansas City is. And without those businesses, we just aren't who we are. So we've got to support them as well.
Mm-hmm. And Jonathan, for you, kind of what is what makes you most excited coming out of this about Kansas City's future as somebody who deals with competition all the time from other cities, and how we can kind of capitalize on this moment in this Parade of Hearts to kind of help you and what you do each and every day?
Sure. The fact that the community is expressing itself, really from edge to edge is a huge opportunity. You don't see cities express themselves that way, and when we talk about that big KC market, when you're just using the two letters in the heart, you're talking about that big footprint that identifies as we're from Kansas City in the biggest sense. So if you kind of overlay that with, let's say, Chiefs Nation or Royals Nation or Sporting Nation, where those fans, where you get to the edges of this market, and maybe they turn into Broncos fans or maybe they turn into Cubs fans, in either direction, right? That this is an opportunity to bring that to life, for that big Kansas City to express itself. And like I said, cities don't always have such a unique way to do that. And I think that reflects the creativity and the heart, frankly, of the people in Kansas City to want to get behind this. And just as Jenn and Shawn were sharing, so many hundreds of folks wanting to be a part of this. And Shawn makes a good point, the fact that this may be the first round, but as we keep going with this, I think it's going to be a real deep part of Kansas City. And again, that's exciting for everyone. Yeah,
it definitely is. The website again is theparadeofhearts.com. Go check it out. It's awesome. There's so many great sponsors and supporters, as well as all the information around kind of the application guideline, the timeline. You'll get to see some of what these hearts look like as far as on their Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter page, as well as on the website. Again, theparadeofhearts.com. I want to thank Jenn Nussbeck, co-director of KC Parade of Hearts, Shawn Long, vice president of Philanthropy and Corporate Outreach at the University of Kansas Health System, and Jonathan Knecht, the Senior Vice President of Marketing and Creative at the Kansas City Area Development Council, for joining me on today's Grill Nation show. And thank you to all of our listeners, watchers, and everyone that's following along on social media. We greatly appreciate it. We will see you again next week. Take care and have a great day. Okay. Great job, everyone.
Awesome.
We're going to tape our sneak peek segment now. And I just want to, because I feel like a lot of people are, I'd love to just share with them kind of what this is again, around what is the KC Parade of Hearts and why is it exciting for our community? Is that something that we can answer in 2 minutes and 20 seconds? Or we can talk about something else.
We can try.
Maybe each of you take a part of that, and just maybe Jen, you lead with kind of like, like the why you did it. And then Shawn, you kind of talk about kind of why it's exciting from all the people that have been engaged with this already. And then Jonathan, you kind of close with, why it's great for what you do at KCADC and growing Kansas City, maybe. So,
okay.
Does that work?
Yeah, we can take a crack at it.
Yep.
Yeah, why not? Hold on 1 second. Okay. So I'm just gonna say I'm gonna just introduce what we're talking about, and then Jen, you start, Shawn, and then Jonathan, and we'll go from there. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Hello, this is Jason Grill, host of the Grill Nation show. Thank you for joining us for this one question sneak peek. I'm joined by a great group of people from not only the Kansas City Area Development Council, but the Parade of Hearts and the University of Kansas Health System. We're talking about the Parade of Hearts. The website is theparadeofhearts.com. I want to know, what is the Parade of Hearts and why is it so exciting for our community? I want to start with Jen.
Well, thanks for having me. We are beyond thrilled and excited to just share with you that we will be bringing our iconic KC Heart to life next spring in early March of 2022. These will be outdoor fiberglass installations throughout the Kansas City region, really brought to life by Kansas City artists that represent us diversely, culturally, and the most important for not only unifying all of us and coming together and seeing all of these hearts throughout the region, but it's also an opportunity to support both publicly and financially those that have been impacted by the events of 2020 and now into 2021.
That's awesome. And Shawn, it's been a great reception so far, correct?
Yeah, from the corporate community, from the very beginning to the art community, we have found that this has really resonated. And I think primarily this is because it's easy for us to divide, right? We divide naturally, whether it's politically, racially, across genders, whatever it may be. This effort is really an effort to help unify all of us in a way that sports has a tendency to do.
Yep.
And throughout the region.
I love it. A lot of sponsored supporters already on board. And then Jonathan, quickly close with why it's exciting for KCADC and what you're doing.
Well, this is a huge opportunity for our city, for our region to express itself, express our creativity, and really show the world what KC is all about, and bringing the heart symbol to life across our region with the creativity and giving back to the region is just a huge, huge, exciting thing to be a part of.
Thank you for joining us for this one question sneak peek. We'll see you next week. Okay. Let's do that one more time. And we don't have to, but I think it was pretty good. I think I can cut it down a little bit. I think we hit it like right on the nose. So, Jonathan, if I cut any part of you out, just know that's why.
Probably wise.
We only get 2 minutes and 20 seconds on Twitter. Hold on 1 second, everyone.